Fresno, Roosevelt High School. We've got a rugby match between Roosevelt High and Bullard High. The kickoff has just taken place. I'm Andrew Clark.
And I'm Josh Olford.
Sitting next to me, Josh Olford, color commentator.
It's gonna be a good day of rugby today.
It's a beautiful day. The pitch is looking great. We're excited to watch a great match between undefeated Bullard and Roosevelt, who's had an up and down year so far. Got a stoppage in play coming down for a scrum. Referee duties today, Jeff Jury. Got a lot of years of experience under his belt. Got a Roosevelt put in the scrum. Pass out to the fly half. We've got a bobble. Bullard hits him and pushing him back. Looks like Bullard stolen the ball. So Bullard in a prime position, attacking position. Pass out to the fly half, to the inside center. Crash up the middle. Taking about 2 or 3 guys to take him down. Roosevelt finally gets him on the ground. And it looks like we've got a score, our first try of the day.
It's impressive to see how far the high school program's come since 2009. Really starting with one team. I believe there's 6 teams now.
Yeah, the programs are really improving, and the numbers continue to increase. So the conversion goes up and it's no good. So we now have a score: Bullard 5, Roosevelt 0.
Bullard off to an early lead. I know they've got quite a bit of experience. They've been around. I think they're the first club sort of established here as far as high school goes. But we'll see, it's early.
Yeah, we've got a long game to play. Coming up for the kickoff, the team that scores receives the kick in rugby, unlike in American football. It's a deep kick. Bullard's choosing to pick it up and take it out. We've got an obstruction call.
Stoppage.
Obstruction is when the ball carrier runs behind another player, preventing the defender from being able to make the tackle. So obstruction penalty against Bullard. Roosevelt is going to get a scrum in prime position to hopefully score.
It's very similar to like a blocking in football, except it's not allowed. And also the ball must be passed backwards and can only be kicked forwards.
That's right. We'll do our best today to explain the differences between rugby and football, which most people are very comfortable understanding the rules. Rugby is definitely has its own unique set of rules that are totally different than football. Kick downfield by Bullard. Roosevelt lost that scrum, or the ball popped out the back of the scrum and it went into touch. Touch is going out of bounds. So the ball went into touch and it will be Roosevelt's line out.
There you see Coach Herb Breen for Roosevelt just really taking this program a long way and really made something out of Roosevelt High and brought a great aspect of rugby to this side of town.
100% right. We've got a good run by the fly half there of Roosevelt, presenting the ball, picked up by the number 5. Good defense by Bullard. Looks like we've got a knock-on. Knock-on in rugby is when it bounces off your hands onto the ground. You are not allowed to pass the ball forward in rugby. You're also not allowed to drop the ball forward. If the ball gets dropped forward, it's a turnover ball. So we had a knock-on by a Roosevelt player, and now we've got a Bullard put in the scrum. Ball's fed down the channel, comes straight out this side.
Back out the tunnel.
The ball has to be fed into the middle of the scrum, and the person in the center called the hook. Tries to grab it with his feet and put it back to the back of the scrum. If it pops straight back out either side, they get to redo it. So ball goes in. Looks like it's lost. Roosevelt gets the ball. Picked up by the scrum half, but lost about 5 meters. Got a penalty against Roosevelt, offsides.
Back 10. Going to take the tap. Yep, quick tap and go.
Ooh, big collision, big collision. We've got
down.
Roosevelt gaining about 5 meters up to the 22 meter. Got a player still down for Bullard. That's Aaron Cardenas. The play does not stop in rugby. We keep playing as long as the injured player is not obstructing the play. They'll keep playing. They've got a trainer right out there, and now they'll stop because the ball went dead. Got another penalty on Bullard.
Have you seen even the game before this? The physicality level in the high school age group is it's impressive. As you can see there, some big hits early on, leaving some players down on the ground.
Absolutely, this is a very physical game, and as these Fresno programs have learned the game, learned the fundamentals, they've started to bring in their athleticism and size and speed, and so you're getting a pretty high level of rugby here in the Valley now.
Yeah, absolutely. You see too with the popularity of rugby growing, especially California and the Central Valley. A lot of players are choosing rugby over football, and even when football's over, a lot of players decide to go in and play some high school rugby and continue to go on and play the college level as well. It's just becoming more and more popular, which is awesome.
Yeah, that is one of the great things about rugby is unlike American football or unlike a lot of sports that you may play in grade school or high school, is in rugby you can continue to play into your as long as you want. I mean, I've known guys that have played into their 60s, maybe not quite as fast and as spry as they were when they were 20 and 25 years old, but they're still capable of getting out there and finding a game. So that is a beautiful thing about rugby, that you can keep playing for a lot of years.
Yeah, absolutely. Age isn't really a limit, and just more of how much your body can handle over the years.
Looks like Aaron Cardenas is up, moving on his own power, and he's actually not even going to come out of the game. It's just going to
keep playing.
Right back in it. So here we go. We ended on a penalty against Bullard, so Roosevelt will get it's called a long arm penalty. They have the choice of either tapping and going fast, or they can kick for touch and maintain possession. The third option is to choose to go for points, and that's what they've chosen. Points is you get 3 points if you get it through the uprights, and
very similar to a field goal in football. It's 3 points, and it can be taken from anywhere on the field if you want. It just really depends on how good your kicker is.
He chooses to go with the drop kick method,
right.
And it's good.
There you go.
So Roosevelt is on the board. We've got a score: Bullard 5, Roosevelt 3.
If attempting to kick for points in game, the ball must touch the ground before it is struck, and so that's called a drop goal. And that can be taken during open play as well as you just saw there, off a penalty.
Got a kickoff. Must go 10 meters on a kickoff, and it's a live ball, but it's kicked into touch. Looks like it bounced first and then went out, and so we've got Roosevelt's ball.
Roosevelt's line out. Seems like it's anybody's match at the moment. It's good to see a good balance of talent. Nobody's getting blown out of the water or anything like that.
Got a line out, tapped back by Bullard, but it looks like it was called
not straight.
Not straight, or actually, I think he's calling that he pulled the player down.
Okay.
First, or infringing on the tunnel. You must maintain a distance of a couple meters between the two lines, and Bullard chose not to do that. So short arm penalty for Roosevelt. They tap and go. Now they're using their big guys, pounding forward. Ball's placed back. Another grab and go by the big men of Roosevelt.
Good physical forward ball.
continuing to gain a few meters at time, passed out to the backs, and Bullard is fast up there and stopping him well short of the gain line. Still Roosevelt's ball. They get the ball back.
Ooh, that's some
good run by the number 25 of Roosevelt. Good hard run. Ball's presented. Looks like there's a fight for the ball. It's presented back. Scrum half takes it, running a little bit sideways. Roosevelt's maintaining possession. Good hard running by Roosevelt.
Doing a good job of supporting.
Roosevelt's really utilizing their big men, the forwards, pounding it up. Now it's coming out to the backs. Taken back in tight, looking for support. Held up by 2 Bullard players. That ball's not moving forward.
Stand still. Oh, whistle's blown.
Held up is what he's calling. Brought in by Roosevelt. Unable to go to ground, unable to present the ball. And so it is now a turnover ball to Bullard. Bullard will get a scrum.
In rugby, it's interesting. Positions are all based on number, whereas football, most players have a selection of number. However, each number represents a specific area. And so as you'll see, for instance, the number 9 is a scrum half, so his job, he'll always be in the same place on the field, whether it's scrums or an open play. It's generally his ball or his job to recycle the ball.
Yeah, so your number is your position in rugby. And the scrum is won by Bullard, taken up, picked up by the back, and now it's not passed out to the backs, but a forward standing off in the back line. Ball presented. Now it's coming out to the backs.
Ooh,
big hit
big
by
tackling.
Roosevelt. Got a penalty.
Roosevelt.
Hands in the ruck. We've got a penalty.
See what they like to do here.
Looks like Bullard's choosing to kick for touch. So number 25 from Roosevelt, Lawrence Bohannon. A lot of good runs so far and a few big hits.
Absolutely.
He seems to be quite an athlete out there, and he's fired up. He's ready to play.
Certainly got the size, the physicality to do well out here.
And Bullard was unable to get it into touch, and so Roosevelt is countering.
Like
but
turnover.
We've got a turnover, and
wow.
Bullard has taken it in, dotted it down under the posts. Number 9, Isaiah Dittmar, puts up another 5 points from Bullard.
It's crucial to always support there. As you can see what happened, bad play turned into a good play pretty drastically.
Yeah, it's amazing how quickly things can change. A mistake on Bullard's part by trying to kick for touch, or kicking for touch and not getting it all the way out of bounds, and a run away from support by Roosevelt and stolen by Bullard, and then next thing you know, they've got another 5 points on the board.
Yeah.
Potentially 7, most likely 7 when they score it right under the posts.
And you'll see in the game of rugby, it's split into 2 40-minute halves, essentially of just continuous play. So you have to be very well fit for this sport. It's rather exhausting, tackling, running, backpedaling, passing, tackling, running over and over and over again. So to be able to do this for 80 minutes takes a great amount of fitness and dedication on the practice field.
Boy, it sure does. There's no doubt about that. We've got a new score, Bullard 12, Roosevelt 3. Looks like the number 25 is getting a chat with referee Jeff Jury.
We'll get play started again.
Marcos Alvaros kicks it off.
Some good running.
Good run by Bullard. Countering back outside of the 22. Utilizing some forwards, pounding it forward. Run off the A gap and a poor pass, but picked up by the inside center and set back. Bullard maintains possession. Ball presented, passed.
Some good counter-rucking there. Good counter-rucking.
Good counter-rucking. It was, oh, nope, we've got a penalty. Looked like a good counter-ruck from where we're sitting. I don't know if he came in from the side or grabbed the ball early before it was completely won, but looks like he may be telling him that he came in a little bit too early with his hands. You have to drive all the way over. Tried to kick for touch, and once again, it did not go out.
Not reaching it, but they put a good chase on.
Roosevelt bobbles it.
Was it knocked? Looks like it will be.
I believe he's calling that he dotted it down. Roosevelt player touched it down in the try zone, giving them a 22. 22-meter dropout is coming by Roosevelt. All they have to do is kick it past the 22 line, and it's a live ball.
Essentially like the start of the game, or after a score, it's almost just a set play back and start. Just reset, so it'll be a drop goal behind the 22-meter line. Oh, and it was not dropped. Must touch the ground first.
Tried to do a traditional football-style punt, and that is not acceptable in rugby. Must do a drop kick. But he's allowing him to redo it, so. Referee's being a little lenient on that.
There you go. The kick is blocked.
Looks like we're going to get a scrum down. I believe it's going to be Bullard's ball here.
So what happened there is the kick was blocked, and so on a 22-meter drop, the receiving team is allowed to stand right there on that 22-meter line and put their hands up and attempt to block the ball if they'd like, without the infringement of a knock-on.
Ball fed in and immediately kicked right back out the tunnel. It's going to be a redo by Bullard, scrum half.
Those front rows seem a little antsy.
Ball's fed in. Roosevelt's getting quite a good push on that, but Bullard does win the ball.
Bullard retains. Getting it through the backs.
Passed out to the fly half.
Oh my! Wow.
It's a fair and legitimate hit. Big hit by number 25 again. He's decided he wants to play today.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Lawrence Bohannon is apparently not afraid of a little contact out there.
Gotta have that mindset out here.
Yes, you do. Aggressive play goes a long way in rugby.
Both sides of the ball.
Absolutely, offense and defense. If you can be an aggressive player and stay playing inside the rules, you can be a very impactful player out there. So scrum to Bullard, picked up by the 8-man. Down the wing, we've got the speedster going down the sideline, and it's a score. Another 5 points by Bullard.
Some good speed on the outside there.
Yeah, it looks like Bullard really took advantage of the weak side of the field over there. It was picked up by the 8-man, quickly passed out to the fly half, and then right fast offloaded to the speedster on the wing, right down the sideline, and scores on the wing. So now we're going to go for another 2 points here. In rugby, you kick from where you score. So he scored on up against the sideline, and now he gets to kick from the sideline. Much more difficult kick from over there than it is if you score right underneath the goalpost.
Exactly. He's essentially allowed to walk it straight out from wherever the ball is touched down. So he can pick the angle. So the stronger the foot he has, the further back he can step. Interesting. A little different than football, obviously getting the field goal or the point after right in front of the uprights.
And Josh, you've done some kicking in your day. Any technique involved in that, or you just put it on the tee and swing that leg as hard as you can?
It started that way. took some serious practice. Still never really got the hang of it, but it's definitely a skill. You have to be patient, and you have to be able to handle pressure. That's for sure.
Almost like a golf swing. The more you do it, the better you get.
Absolutely.
takes a long time to perfect.
You got to make it second nature.
So we've got a score of Bullard 17, Roosevelt 3.
Quick pick and go there.
Looks like Bullard's, there we go, out to the fly half.
Getting some good back ball there. There we go.
Quick hands. And here comes Lawrence again.
And one thing that's great to see is his aggressiveness, however, doing it properly. In football, you're allowed to make shoulder tackles and use your helmet essentially to bring players down. However, in rugby, you have to wrap up. With a failed attempt to wrap comes penalization, whether yellow or red card. It's all about safety, but being aggressive at the same time.
Well, that's one of the things that makes rugby considerably safer than a lot of sports out there. You don't have any helmets, you don't have any pads, and people think you're going to be injured all the time. But the simple fact of the matter is there's a lot of rules that are part of rugby that ensure safety. And that wrapping is one of the very important factors, that you cannot shoulder charge, you can't spear somebody with your head or your helmet. You must wrap up with your shoulders. And it reduces concussions, it reduces a lot of injuries.
Yeah, absolutely.
But those big hits, it doesn't change whether you're playing football or rugby. They will make people sore, there's no doubt about that, and they can be very impactful in a game like this, especially a close game. It can make momentum swing in the blink of an eye.
Absolutely.
Fire up your own team and demoralize the opposing team.
Got another whistle here. Penalty to Roosevelt.
Looks like we had someone diving over, I believe. In rugby, you must stay on your feet at all times. You cannot play when you're on the ground. If you're on the ground, you're out of the game essentially. Good run by number 11, Roosevelt.
Lack of support though on the outside there.
And they've turned it over. Bullard's got the ball back.
There we go. Good run.
Staying on his feet. Roosevelt needs to bring him to the ground, but they finally get him down on the ground, picked up.
They're doing a good job of moving the ball around though.
Yes, they are. There's a lot of guys touching that ball on Bullard's behalf, and anytime you can get that ball through a lot of players' hands, it's very difficult to defend. Short pass to a forward, crash forward, ball presented back, quick pressure. And we've got a kick downfield by the fly half.
No, nobody back for the kick. It's a foot race.
And it's into touch.
Just going back to what we were talking about with tackling, absolutely. Just the way it makes the game safer. It's just such a misconception between the two sports with the less pads. And it really makes it more interesting, more technical. It makes it a more challenging sport. And it's almost like a combination of football and wrestling in a way. A lot of leg tackles, lower body shots. You don't want to see as much high tackling around the neck or the shoulders.
In fact, they'll even call you for a penalty if you're doing that.
Absolutely.
So it's still Bullard's ball. They kicked it downfield, but it bounced first and then went, it was touched by a Roosevelt player and then went out, so Bullard gets the ball back, and they are right back into prime scoring position. The only way to progress the ball forward in rugby, quick hands, and they've got an overload, but Roosevelt is there to stop it. Looks like we've got a penalty.
Tell you what, number 25 is all over the field.
He is. To be honest, I'm not even sure what position he's playing right now, but he's getting around the field well enough that
he's playing everything right now.
He's playing a lot of different positions and making a big impact out there. And we've got a score.
Try awarded. Yeah, with rugby, it's 15 players on each side, and it's such a unique sport because each number, as we said earlier, represents a different position and a different role. And it's really cool to see how each role plays into the success of each team, because literally having one player missing or a lack of effort in one of those numbers literally just has can have a detrimental effect on team's performance. So it's up to all 15 guys to bring it out on the field and give it their all.
Yeah, any team can have their own strengths and weaknesses, whether it's a small, speedy team or a big, powerful team, and anybody can have their own strengths and weaknesses. But at the end of the day, you still need 15. You actually need 23 to play. You got 15 on the field, and you need your reserves, who are just as critical. And you get one weak link in there, and it can be exposed in a hurry.
Absolutely. That's one thing back home with my team that we constantly sort of preach is that if you're not necessarily in the starting 15, you play just as crucial a role as anybody else. You may need to come in the last 20 minutes. You may only play 20 minutes, but you have the chance to turn the game around and bring in sort of a difference-making play or something like that. So all 8 of those reserves are just as important as the starting 15.
Yeah, they sure are. The one thing that is different at the high school level, which changes the minute you get out of high school and into the higher levels, in high school you do have unlimited substitution, so you can go in and out as you wish. When you get into the collegiate level and above, once you start a game and you leave the field, you are not coming back on. Your day is done. So we've got a score of 22-3 in favor of Bullard. Knock on by Bullard originally on the kickoff.
We got a whistle. Knock on Bullard.
So what happened there, we had an early knock on. The referee was playing advantage. Advantage is when there's a penalty called or an infraction called, and he allows the play to continue. In the event that Roosevelt were to have scored there, they would have given them the points. It's a way to allow the game to continue moving even though a penalty or an infraction has taken place. If they do not gain an advantage, they will go back and call the penalty and essentially give that penalty to the team that the penalty was against. Pick and run off the scrum. I think Roosevelt's got a good job securing the ball. Very close to touch. They've got to keep it in.
Starting to see a little more out of Roosevelt right now. Oh, there we go, another whistle. Another knock on to Bullard, I believe.
Yeah, knock on by Roosevelt. Roosevelt, unfortunately, in this first half has been plagued by some poor handling errors, and that was a poor one as they're inside their own 22 and ready to capitalize and possibly score, and now they've turned it over and right back to Bullard. And in a 22-3 game, you cannot give up opportunities like that.
Absolutely. Well, that's another thing with rugby too, with it being continuous for 2 40-minute halves. Momentum swings fairly easy, and so this isn't by any means a blowout, or this game isn't over by any means at all, because we still have a whole another 40 minutes. However, they do need to start cleaning up a little bit.
Yeah, scores can change in the blink of an eye. I think we're having some problems in this scrum here. Still Bullard's put in. The referee's coming around to this side to probably take a look at this side of the scrum, make sure no one's barging in or doing anything they shouldn't be doing. Referee's telling the player to stay bound, and good run off the back of the scrum, and Roosevelt finally gets him down. Ball presented. Another quick pick by the scrum half. Attempted pass out to the fly half, and
it's good.
Roosevelt is really driving him back,
back
just a couple meters outside the try zone. Bullard is still maintaining possession.
Oh, Bullard needs support.
Quite a run. He's all by himself, but he may not need any help. He's got quite the set of wheels. Down the sideline, and he's in. 5 points.
That's
darn near a 100-meter run.
It's on his own little island out there.
He was, and that's the second time this game he's done that. Not quite 100 meters the first time, but that was an impressive run there to go the length of the field. And those types of runs can surely be demoralizing against Roosevelt.
especially in an instance like that where you have them backed up against the wall, and then just as we were talking about just a moment ago, momentum just all of a sudden. Oh, and it looks like we may have a line out. Looks like he stepped out.
Yep, he must have stepped out, and so no try awarded.
Looks like Roosevelt caught a break there.
Big break, but then it's turned right back over. Poor handling by Roosevelt and picked up, and Bullard is right back in scoring opportunity. Beautiful pass out to the fly. Long pass out to the wing. Had some mistakes there. But they're playing advantage. We've got another penalty against Roosevelt. Got an injured player down on the field for Roosevelt, but so again, they're playing advantage, and now we've got a penalty against Roosevelt for Bullard. Just about 10 meters outside the try line, out to the backs, and
there we go.
Another big hit by Lawrence. And once again, the momentum can swing in the blink of an eye.
They need support.
Beautiful run. He was not held down. He stands back up.
Is he going to call it?
Apparently he is going to call it. He did not release the ball.
That's too bad.
There was no ruck form. There was no one there, and he should have released the ball, and he was able to stand back up on his feet and grab it, but he did not do that. So back and forth. Momentum's switching left and right immediately. Good pass out to the fullback. Very close to touch, and he's...
There you go. Oh, flag went up. Nope. Flag went up.
We've got a try, but we had a...
Looks
the
like
referee has awarded the try, but it looks like the touch judge may very well bring it back because he called it into touch.
Huh.
Well, apparently.
A little bit of a mix-up, I guess not.
They're giving it to him. So, another score by Bullard. I don't know if it was an errant call on the touch judge or the referee's just choosing not to listen to him. But either way, the points are on the board.
Actually, just to mention to our viewers, high school matches are played every Friday until April 11th at Todd Beamer Park over northeast Fresno area. So Friday evenings, come out and watch, support, and just have a good time. It's always fun. It's a sight for sore eyes to see rugby in this side of town, but it's sure growing. So I encourage you, if you're interested at all, to come out and watch.
Yeah, most games are played at Todd Beamer Park, but it is good to give Roosevelt a home game, if you will. At Todd Beamer, it's not at a school, and so no one really has a home field advantage. Everybody plays there, but Roosevelt's really done a nice job making this pitch look beautiful, and they deserve to have a home game. Unfortunately, the score is not going in their direction. We've got 27-3 in the favor of Bullard.
Certainly one of the nicer pitches you'll see around Fresno as far as rugby goes.
Nice little run on Bullard, number 7, Joshua Gutierrez. And it's stolen. Roosevelt did a good job stealing that ball. Now Roosevelt's on the attack. Bullard has to quickly switch to defense. And Roosevelt continues to utilize the pick and go, utilizing their big men to pound right off the side of the ruck. And it seems to be working right up until the point of they have handling errors, but no handling error there. We've got a cheater somewhere on the Bullard side.
Lack of better terms.
Yeah. Through the hands, another handling error on Roosevelt, but they've found a way to recover and moving forward again inside the 22 on the attack. And they're pick and go on Roosevelt's behalf, and they're within 10 meters now.
Moving
They're
the ball
getting very
well.
close, moving the ball well, and they've got to be very close. This is where defense really needs to step up and make big contact at the gain line. Bullard seems to be doing a great job of that.
Looks like,
Got another penalty.
Roosevelt really needs to capitalize here.
Bullard needs to get back onto the try line, and there they go, right up the middle, and it is a try.
Try awarded.
Number 25, Lawrence Bohannon. We've been calling his name quite a bit, and now he's on the scoreboard.
That's good support and good running together by Roosevelt there in that last 30 seconds. It's so crucial in this sport that you run in pairs or groups, because the second somebody goes down, body's got to be over the top to help recycle that ball again and keep the game alive, or else it's anybody's ball.
Beautiful kick. So that is halftime. We have a score. Bullard 27, Roosevelt 10. So we're going to take 10 minutes. Both coaches are going to have a chat with their team and see what changes need to be made. Josh, what do you think changes need to be made on the Roosevelt side?
Well, it seems just like a lot of sort of individual little handling errors, small sort of silly mistakes that just need to be tightened up, passing, getting hands out and catching it, but also defensively, dropping their fullback a little more, putting some of their players back to support that kick. I think Bullard capitalized on 2 tries there, just putting a kick downfield and letting their fast guys chase it, and just Roosevelt wasn't there to sort of counter that. So I think adjusting defense and just everybody sort of just tuning it up a little bit.
Yeah, I would agree. It's been a good game, even though the score is 27-10. I think it's been closer than what the score shows. It seems to me that whoever's got the pressure on is doing a better job and always within scoring position. Unfortunately, Roosevelt's had some key handling errors within their own 22-meter and lost possession, and quickly Bullard has capitalized and gone back downfield. So this game is it's back and forth.
Right. Anyways, going back to just our discussion. Sorry that we had a little technical difficulty. As far as things we were looking at improving and whatnot, I think Roosevelt really showed what they're capable of in that last minute or so. Bullard's playing real well, I would say, but there's always things that need to be touched up.
Yeah, coming into this game, there's no doubt that I think Bullard would have been considered the favorite. They come in with an undefeated record, and it was their game to lose, so to speak. But Roosevelt's given them everything they can handle, and if Bullard cleaned up their own mistakes, they may have even a bigger lead. But right now, I think Roosevelt's in their face enough, especially number 25.
Absolutely.
That's Lawrence Bohannon, and I don't know how long he's been playing, but hopefully he continues to play. And
absolutely,
he's going to be quite an asset going forward for the Rough Riders here.
Totally, and that's encouraging to see younger athletic guys sort of taking on the sport, because it prides ourselves, even just as an American rugby sort of community, to see newer, big athletic sort of guys taking on rugby, even coming from football past and stuff, because also it's a big favorite for a lot of football guys, because there's so many positions in football where you never see the ball, you never see offense. You may be an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman, whatever it may be. Here in rugby, you all pretty much serve a similar purpose, and you do the same thing on offense you do on defense. You all tackle, and you all run the ball. And so it's popular for a lot of people. So
Yeah, just like you said, in football, you can get your linemen that are very role specific. In rugby, even though you may have roles, you always have the ability to grab that ball and run with it. And although it may not be advised by your coaches, even the big guys are allowed to kick it if they want. Usually they don't have the skill that's needed, but
you don't see that happen too often.
Occasionally you see it, and then you'll quickly see it with the coach yelling at them. But it does happen. And it's exciting for those guys to be able to run with the ball coming from a sport like football where you are role specific and you're told to just go out there and block and block and block. And a lot of big men tend to transfer over to rugby and love it. Other than the fitness.
Yeah.
Fitness can be a challenge for a lot of guys. Even the small, fast guys, fitness is such a key factor in rugby.
Definitely. And that is well said, because there's nothing you can even do. I mean, practicing, you run and you condition for games, but nothing can prepare you like 80 minutes of rugby, essentially. I mean, you can do your best to get in shape, but I'll tell you, even playing myself, I mean, I can train and 6 months, 7 months before season, but by the time 80 minutes is up, I'm hurting everywhere, inside and out. I mean, it's exhausting. It's like wrestling for just an hour straight.
Yeah, it is an exhausting sport, but and that just lends to the fact that the fitter teams can often be the better teams, even if their skills may not be up to snuff with the other team. If you're fitter, a lot of times in rugby, you can gain quite an advantage just on fitness levels.
Absolutely. Technically sound teams simply can have it all right, but if you run out of steam in 40 minutes and the other team still got gas in the tank, it can change the game. Absolutely. So fitness is half the sport. That's for sure.
Okay, it looks like we're almost back to action. We're gonna flip sides here. We're gonna have Bullard going from the north to the south on my left, and we're gonna have Roosevelt going from the south to the north on my right. Second half of rugby, and it's still anybody's game. See if either team can capitalize on adjustments. In rugby, you've got one half. That's the only time your coach is really allowed to talk to you in that 10-minute halftime break. And whoever can take his advice and make the adjustments can generally come out on top.
Definitely, except with the exception of the barking from the sideline.
That's true. As a player, you may not like to hear it, but you still do hear your coach yelling at you from the sideline. But Josh, there's no way that anybody would ever yell at you when you're playing, is there?
No, I'm just a lovable guy. Day one. Even if they're upset with me, they get a glimpse of me and then just forget what they were upset about. It's contagious.
So the sun's starting to go down, the lights are coming on, and here we go. 27-10, second half, Roosevelt against Bullard.
It's a different style of Friday Night Lights.
Yes, it is. Bullard's 8-man, right up the middle.
No hesitation.
Right up to midfield. Quickly stopped by our friend Lawrence again. Pass out to the fly half, quickly to the inside center. Inside center's keeping it, gains about 10 meters. Picked up, we've got an advantage for Bullard.
There we go.
And it's
advantage is used. Well, not used.
Not gained. Advantage not gained. Bullard gets the ball back, penalty, and they're choosing to quick tap and go. Passed out to the fly half and a sidestep. Long pass out to the outside center. Nice run inside the 22 meters. And he's calling, I believe, offsides against Roosevelt. I think that's the call, which is surprising to me. He didn't give him an advantage and let him keep playing.
Yeah. Was it a knock-on?
No, it's still Bullard's ball, and gained another 10 meters there or so. Bullard is regrouping. Picked up off the side of the ruck, it looked like. Ball's kicked out the back. Quick run. Nice set.
Sending the big boy in to the post.
Bullard seems to be standing still a little bit, but they're still gaining a few meters, not running onto the ball. You always want to be moving forward when you're catching that ball. Pass out to the number 8. Went a little bit sideways, thought he had an opening, but Roosevelt quickly shuts him down. Pass out to the fly half. Fly half's keeping it himself.
Oh, he had support on
inside pass to the number 7.
Out on the wing.
And we've got a score.
Try awarded.
Joshua Gutierrez for Bullard puts up another 5 points.
Well, Bullard certainly came out with a lot of pace. Looks like they're trying to sort of put the fire out early, but we want to see a little more physicality from Roosevelt. They've been putting big hits on in the first half. I think if they can just really get some momentum going in their direction, fire each other up, you could see a different second half.
Yeah, Bullard came out in that right off the halftime. Looked like they had fresh legs. They were running hard, running fast, and Roosevelt was a little bit. They were catching a little bit.
Kick is wide left.
Kick to the left, no good. So we've still got a score. Bullard 32, Roosevelt 10. Bringing it back up to midfield. Roosevelt's showing their pack is to the left. Most of the time that means that's the direction they're going to kick, unless they want to do a little trickery or tomfoolery. But we'll see what they do. Oh, he's looking to the right.
He's keeping them on their toes.
That's right.
Yeah, essentially the kickoff is kind of like an onside kick in football. And usually when we refer to the pack, you want to put sort of your forwards, your bigger guys, to match up against the other bigger guys, and just sort of let them duke it out for that first 30 seconds or so. But looks like they're moving it pretty quick.
Inside center takes it up for Bullard. Picked up off the side of the ruck. Scrum half to the number 20. Brought back inside, looking for support, keeping it tight for the Bullard Knights. Nice counter ruck by Roosevelt, but the ball's back out to the number 8. Bullard secures ball. 2 switch, inside center takes it and quickly put on his back. Bullard chooses to go fast. Scrum half has the ball. No scrum half there to pass out to the back, so most likely the forwards are going to take it, and they do. Gains a couple meters. Scrum half passes it out.
And Bullard is just relentless right now. Just quick ball.
They are maintaining possession. They're doing a darn good job holding on to that ball, and possession is such a key factor to this game. You've got to have possession of that ball for a lot of reasons, but one of the main reasons is fitness, as we were talking about earlier. It is not fun to be playing defense for 5-10 minutes straight. And offensively, you can see some of the Bullard guys get to stand back here and wait for the ball and take a breather. Every single person on the Roosevelt side right now is working hard, trying to play defense. Fly half to the inside, quick offload of the inside of him. Gains another 10 meters or so.
It was a quick pick and go there.
Nice pick and go by number 3 prop, Drew Arbalo. Running back cross field. Got a little bit of an overload. Roosevelt quickly shuts it down.
Oh.
Fly half's trying to make up his mind where he wants to go.
Close.
Choosing left, choosing right.
Close shepherding call there.
Another big contact, but not putting him on the ground. Now we've got a Roosevelt player down.
It looks like Bullard as well.
Oh yes, we do. We have a man down for Bullard. Looks like we got an overload to the left, but very poor handling on Bullard's part. They had an easy walk-in try, but some poor passing, poor handling gives Roosevelt the ball, and not only they have the ball, but the referee has an advantage called. So see, Roosevelt's going to get a penalty. They're going to go fast. Tap and go. Big contact right at the gain line.
It's rare that you see them vouch to tap and go in that territory of the field. Usually in that instance you take advantage of the penalty to kick out of bounds and get a line out just to sort of clear the space and get your team out of pressure, but looks like they're hungry right now. So
yeah, that's a good point. A lot of teams would play field position there, but Roosevelt chooses to we've got a quick tap and go on Bullard's part, and Roosevelt is caught sleeping. Darn near walk-in try, fly half, Mika Cruz, and another 5 points. That was strictly, looked to me as if Bullard caught Roosevelt sleeping.
Yeah.
There was a penalty, and Roosevelt did not get back 10 meters. Bullard quickly took advantage of it, tapped and went, and as I said, almost a walk-in try.
Yeah.
Under the posts, and 5 points, 37-10.
And I think you briefly mentioned it in the first half with that tap and go. If you vouch to tap and go quickly at the referee's mark, if the other team has not retreated 10 meters, they are not allowed to touch the player with the ball. So if you are quick enough to it, you can tap that and run it straight past them. And if they tackle you, they're subject to more penalties. So it was good thinking by their 10 there to just take it straight in, and even got it centered up for the kick.
Yeah, that's game awareness. Paying attention to where Roosevelt's players were, realizing they're not 10, and running right through them untouched.
Obviously that poses a threat to your own team as well, though, because if you tap and go and your own team isn't ready for you, turnovers are likely. But in that sort of territory, it was a good decision because it was only about 10 meters out from the try line there. So
yeah, based on your field position, you can choose when to be aggressive and when to be a risk taker, and they quickly went forward there, and it definitely paid off. Slight bobble by Bullard's player, and the referee catches it.
calling a shepherd?
No, he's calling a shepherd. I thought it was a knock on, but he's calling a shepherd, running behind his own player, preventing the Roosevelt player from coming up and making the tackle. Slip by Roosevelt player, but they maintain possession.
Just going to the bread and butter right now, just physical play, forward ball.
But great counter ruck by Bullard.
Looks like found it.
Great counter ruck by Bullard, and they win the ball, and then they get a penalty. Another quick tap and go, and Bullard is back on the attack.
We'll hold up on the ruck there. Oh, ball's out.
Got a bit of a sideways runner there. In rugby, you definitely want to run as straight as possible. And as the game has gone on, some of these guys have decided they want to start running sideways, and that doesn't always pay off. If you want to move the ball sideways, it's better to pass the ball sideways than run sideways.
Definitely. Rugby's a game of north and south style of play. People have a football mindset, sort of the east and west, too often because they're looking for blocks, and it actually gets your team in trouble because you wind up creating penalties just from running east to west, running your players out of space. So it's better to just run heads up and either put a body on it or create space for other players running north and south as well.
Yeah, and it looks like that's what we have here. We've got a penalty against Bullard. Roosevelt is going to have the ball. We're going to have a scrum here. Oh, that's a correction. It looks like it's going to be Bullard's ball.
Or I believe it's, oh, you're right. It's Bullard's. We'll mix up. So the 8 players that create the scrum are classified as forwards, and then the 7 that are standing off the back there classified as backs. And so generally numbers 1 through 8 to start are your forwards, and 9 through 15 are your backs. And they serve fairly different roles. Let's see what we got here.
Kick downfield, and counter ran into touch, but we've got a
Penalty back.
penalty. Looks like one of the Bullard players was not retreating after the kick. You have to not only be on sides, but after the kick goes up, if you are in front of the player, you have to drop back. I believe that is what the call was there.
That was a much better job of fielding in that kick, though, compared to the first half there by Roosevelt.
So we got slow play there. We've got Roosevelt picking and going right off the side of the scrum. Bullard players got him held up, but he's still maintaining a few extra yards. Ball pops out, squirts out the back, picked up by number 25, running straight upfield. And we've got another ruck formed. Ball's presented. Roosevelt's diving forward, and it looks like we've got a try.
Yes, try, Ward. It's good to see that the game isn't over for them yet. They're still out there pumping those feet, and they're keeping it moving.
Yeah, with 22 minutes left, there's still a lot of time on the clock, and they're not down by an insurmountable amount. They can put some points up on the board quickly.
Absolutely, and rugby just comes with, being a rugby player comes with a different sort of form of class. I mean, you play 80 minutes through. Win or losing, it doesn't matter what the score is. There's sort of a code you follow by, and that's just giving 80 minutes until the game's over, regardless of who wins or loses.
That's right, and Josh, I think you know both of these coaches, and even if there was a player that was not giving it their all, I'm confident that both of these coaches would make a correction in the blink of an eye.
Absolutely.
These are old school coaches, old school players, and they wouldn't tolerate anything like that. Bullard attempts to go fast, tried to catch Roosevelt off guard. The ball initially didn't go 10 meters, but it bounced 10 meters, and so it's a live ball. Roosevelt picks it up, gaining a few yards, brings it back just 10 meters short of the midfield mark. And nice ruck, got a nice run past midfield.
Let's go, Roosevelt!
Roosevelt is on the attack now. And we've got number 25, Lawrence Bohannon, is down the sideline, but he runs into touch.
That's some good
out of
defense,
bounds.
though.
That was a great athletic play by number 25. Great defense on Bullard's behalf, shoving him out of bounds, and now Bullard will get the ball back through a line out.
You can see just with the later portion of the game that you watch tackles go from solid lower body tackles to higher, sort of grabbing at the jersey, getting sloppy, getting lazy, and that's when you know maybe either it's time to make some substitutes or just tune up your own game.
Yeah, you get fatigued, and it's not quite as easy to bend down and break down and go after someone low, and you tend to start reaching and grabbing for people, and that's another thing that these coaches don't like to see and don't want to tolerate. But Roosevelt steals the line out, and they're back on attack, just about 5 meters outside their own try zone. Like we've got a maul formed. Oh, and it's stolen by Bullard. Bullard is now in possession. Pass out to the fly half, and a pop kick up and under. Roosevelt is there to counter, and
good fielding.
Good fielding.
Well done.
And unfortunately into touch.
We Bullard's line out. About 20 to go.
Now in rugby, you never want to run out of bounds. You want to stay in the field of play as much as possible. You lose possession when you run out of bounds, and as we talked earlier in the game, possession is such a key factor for this game, and you never want to give it up.
Definitely, and so it's on those fringes out there, whether you're the wings or whoever's carrying that ball, to really turn it back inside and sort of count on your team to support you there. It's not like football where sort of get the first down and jog it out of bounds and get a fresh set. No, that's sort of turnover because it's just continuous time.
So Bullard is having some issues with their line out. That's the second one in a row they've lost, and Roosevelt's taken advantage of it, and now Bullard has a penalty called against them. So Roosevelt is right midfield at the 22-meter mark, and their penalty, they're going to choose to tap and go. Number 25, Lawrence Bohannon, choosing to run sideways upfield. Now he's turned and gone upfield and just short of the try line. Presented ball nicely. They're getting awfully close to that touch line over there.
Looks like they're doing a good job of keeping it in. Oh, whistled again. Yeah, there's another comment just alongside of sort of the tackling and things. You start to see the whistle being blown a lot more near these last sort of 20 minutes. Just sloppy play, people get careless, and as a result, you start getting penalties and just sort of dumb calls.
Are you telling me when you get tired, you don't think straight? Is that what you're telling me, Josh?
I mean, not me, but I mean, the average human being.
The average player, I understand. I understand. Okay. Makes sense.
I'm a special case. Got a bit of a breeze picking up.
Yep. Coach Herb Breen over here on the sideline, trying to rally his troops to get a late push. Looks like Herb has gone for the culottes look today, I believe. It's an interesting coaching decision.
Yep. Yeah, Herb's a pretty special individual.
Normally he's very fashion friendly, but apparently not this game.
Well, usually he graces the sideline with a kilt. But it looks like he's not bringing it out tonight.
So Roosevelt back in striking distance here. Looks like we've got a maul, and the referee is playing advantage for Roosevelt. And just short of the try zone. Picked up and again stopped. Stout defense by Bullard. And they're over the line and he sets it down. We've got another try from Roosevelt, giving us a score of 20-37.
Certainly plenty of time.
Still a lot of time left. Now, Josh, do you think these last few scores from Roosevelt are them picking up play, or is Bullard slacking off a little bit?
Well, I feel like Roosevelt's playing a little smarter. They're starting to put the ball in their playmakers' hands, who are really picking them up. But also, I mean, you take a look over at the end line there, and you're seeing hands on the knees, and you're seeing guys huffing and puffing, and so it's not necessarily that fitness is an issue, but teams are getting tired. I mean, Bullard gave up several penalties a few minutes ago, and it's starting to take a toll. So I don't know. It's kind of going both ways.
So we've got the conversion coming up. Roosevelt needs to start considering doing things a little bit faster as they burn up the clock here with this kick. Mm-hmm. They're burning up valuable playing time that they can put more points on the board. A beautiful kick.
That was well done. Yeah, it's rare that you see a drop goal for points, the conversion after, but when you can kick like that, I mean, why not?
Yep. Now you're allowed on the conversions to use a tee, but he's choosing to do the drop kick, and it's working for him.
Let's go, Roosevelt!
So Roosevelt looks ready to get this ball back, and you replay the kick right in the middle. It's about 22 meters out. That's what that line is that they're on.
And plays back in. Ball was knocked back, still alive. Oh, keeping it alive there. Oh.
So Roosevelt's using their athletic ability and trying to get out of their own territory into Bullard's territory.
Yeah, you could see that score really sparked something for Roosevelt there. They're really bringing it right now.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in momentum in this sport, and you don't want to lose possession. You don't want to lose momentum either, and the team with the current momentum can be dangerous even when they're down by a few tries. Got another penalty on Bullard.
diving over.
So Roosevelt looks like they're going to choose to tap and go, and there they are.
Sort of been their go-to.
Yeah, but I haven't
from the
seen them
start.
kick for touch much this game, and so it's to Bullard's advantage. They can expect a quick tap and go and be a stout defense.
Well, and you'll find that different teams sort of have their different strategies. If some teams have a great scrum, so off the penalties they'll like to scrum every time, just because that's where they excel at. Same with lineouts. And then if you have strong runners like Roosevelt does, you're gonna tap and go. But it certainly does take the wind out of your sails, running over again with the tap and go.
Yeah, those penalties can be a chance to catch your breath a little bit, and if you're tapping and going quickly, you can not give your players that break. But I'm sure the coaches would say they don't need the break; they need to be fit enough to play through those. So we've got a scrum down. Bullard's put in.
Yeah, starting to get a little tired. You can see him leaning in before the referee's call. And so it's pretty much based on a cadence. The referee will sort of yell out several calls, and then they bind in, and he'll give the cue to the scrum half to put the ball in.
Yeah, you're right. You can see some leaning in there. You don't get that crisp pop that you were seeing earlier in the game. These forwards are starting to get a little bit tired. Great run by the inside center. Bullard still securing ball. The back line is starting to form out to the left, and it's a steal by Roosevelt, but we've got a penalty. I believe he was...
Hope they get back.
Yep. Roosevelt choosing to go quick, tap and go. Just a couple meters short of the try line. Ball presented. Pass out to the number 20. Gaining a couple meters there.
That's where all your tackles count.
That's right, Roosevelt. Oh,
Good
an
steal.
Amazing steal by Lawrence Bohannon. Roosevelt's ball. And they've got an advantage. Referee's playing an advantage for them. Now, if they can keep driving forward, they will take that advantage away and let them keep playing. But if they don't gain enough ground, he's going to call the penalty back, and that's what he chooses. He decided that they weren't gaining enough ground or didn't gain an advantage, so he's calling him back and giving the penalty.
See what are they going to go for the... Oh.
Once again, a quick tap and go. Roosevelt player.
They found an answer.
Counter ruck by Bullard. A lot of people diving in there, throwing their hands around.
Got a player down.
And that's what we got. We've got a diving over call.
Looks like...
Got Roosevelt's ball. One of the Bullard players was diving over. Once again, you've got to stay on your feet during this game. Just outside the 22, and Bullard is having a very difficult time stopping these big runners of Roosevelt. Gaining 3, 4, 5 meters at a time. If it weren't for these handling errors on Roosevelt's part, and we've got a turnover, stolen by Bullard. They've got an overload to the left. Can't get the ball out quite far enough, but they've still maintained possession.
And you have to give the referee a lot of props, too, for being the only guy on the field having to monitor 30 guys and making the calls he does. I mean, there's a lot of things that can be seen that he doesn't, and for him to make the calls, it takes... You gotta handle the pressure of being a referee in the sport of rugby, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's a thankless job without a doubt, and the one good thing about rugby referees is they command and deserve the ultimate respect. There's no back talk, there's no arguing a referee's call. He has complete authority. If he's got players that are arguing with him or yelling at him or giving him any back talk, he can just keep moving them down the field, backing them up another 10 meters, and if it gets too bad, he can kick them off the field. It may be just one ref for 30 guys, but he's got a lot of...
he runs the show, kind of.
A lot of respect out there. And this particular ref, Jeff Jury, he's been at it a long time, and he's got those handlebar mustache, and I think that commands respect in itself.
that says more about him than anything else.
Yeah, the shaved head and the handlebar mustache. You know you're not going to talk back to that guy.
Definitely. Back up the tunnel. This is a big scrum. See Coach Breen trying to rally his players. If there's one voice on the sideline that's more distinct than anybody, it's Herb's.
Absolutely, you can hear him from a mile away. I'm sure his players appreciate that. They can know exactly what their directions are from him at any given point in the game.
So we're going to do it again.
For the third time, having some troubles in the scrum. The referee's having a quick chat with the front row, trying to get them to clean things up, and let's see if third time's a charm. Ball's put in. Good drive by Roosevelt, but Bullard's maintaining possession. Pass out to the fly half. Taking it up to the gain line, then passes out to the fullback. Fullback's a little confused on what to do, offloads it, and Roosevelt shuts him down. Picked up by the inside center. Gains a meter or two. Bullard right back in prime field position and attacking.
Oh, see those
stopped
tackles.
In his track.
Tackles getting up around the head.
So we've got a penalty against Roosevelt here.
Better get back on the goal
See
line.
if Bullard chooses to tap and go quickly, and they do. A little bit of a ball handling error, but it's recovered and maintained. Another penalty against Roosevelt.
Is it a try awarded?
Oh, my mistake.
I believe try was awarded.
We've got a try. This commentator should maybe pay more attention to the game. So we've got a score of 42 to 22. In favor of Bullard. Conversion still to come. Bullard has not been on their game when it comes to these conversions.
It's kind of a hit or miss thing. I mean, you get in a flow, and usually if you miss your first couple strikes, it's difficult to come back from that.
That one's good, though.
The kicking game in rugby certainly is something you got to kind of feel out. So it's important that not only one, but even two or three players take on the skill, or at least practice taking some place kicks in the event that either somebody goes down or somebody just isn't doing it, because those points add up.
Yeah, 2 points a pop. They can add up in a hurry. Yeah, it really is important to have more than one kicker, because, as you said, there's times that even the best kickers have off nights. Bullard taking the ball back upfield. Nice counter attack on the kick. Picked up by Bullard off the back of the ruck.
Entering our last 5 minutes here. We want to make sure we see everybody play a good, clean last 5 minutes.
Got a handling error. Knock on by Bullard. It's going to be a scrum down. Roosevelt's put in.
I think we mentioned it earlier on in the game. Typically, a rugby game, whether it be college or the men's level or international and so on, is 2 40-minute halves. However, at this high school level, it is 35 minutes a half. Not to be confused from any comments we had earlier. So essentially, these guys are putting in a hard 70 minutes regardless. It's not much different than an 80-minute game. But definitely you can see the exhaustion really setting in as we enter these last 4 minutes. It's just duking it out at this point.
Yeah, Josh, this isn't a knock on you, but you never played high school rugby, and so you're only used to 80-minute games. This 35-minute halves or 70-minute games is new to you, new to me as well. I didn't play high school as well. When I was in high school, rugby was definitely not a high school sport.
It only happened in other countries.
Absolutely. You'd have to go overseas if you wanted to play high school rugby. So it's outstanding to see high school rugby really taking off here in the Central Valley, not only here in Fresno and the immediate schools right around here, but Tulare, Visalia are starting to field some teams. Merced has some talk of fielding teams. The Central Coast is had a number of teams for a number of years, so it's really exciting to see high school rugby blowing up at the level it is. It is the fastest growing team sport in the United States right now.
People don't realize how fun it is until they try it, and I'm definitely one of those people that found that out.
Lawrence Bohannon steals the ball in prime position, and Bullard's having a heck of a time trying to bring him down, gaining some great ground.
Phenomenal run.
Maintaining possession. Roosevelt still has it. Bullard playing on their heels right now, but they've stolen the ball. Poor handling by Roosevelt. And ball popped out the wrong side of the ruck, and Bullard takes advantage. Now they're moving forward. Now we haven't seen a whole lot of kicking in this game, but you think late in this game Bullard may take advantage of some field possession game by kicking it downfield. There it is.
Right on cue.
I told him to do that. So.
He knew what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That's good. That's some good counterattacking there by Bullard as well. It's really important that you get those outside wings to chase down and contain that runner.
And they've done a great job, and they almost stole the ball there, but Roosevelt maintains possession. There's a lot of people grabbing in there in that ball, and the referee doesn't like it. Looks like maybe someone's coming in from the side or hands in, or did not release the player after he tackled him and went for the ball. So penalty against Bullard, Roosevelt's ball.
I'm loving it. I'm loving seeing Roosevelt just they're not giving up on anything. I mean,
no, they're not. And
certainly this one is out of reach, but they are certainly bringing everything they have in this last succession of play.
Yeah, and the time is actually wound down, and they won't stop the play until there's a dead ball, and you cannot end on a penalty. So even though the 35-minute second half is over, the game will go on until the ball dies. So Roosevelt has the ability to put another score on the board. After that score, if they were to score, then the game will be over. So we're playing into extra time right now. And at this point, a lot of it's about pride and not quitting.
Definitely. I mean, representing your school out here, and a lot of these guys, some may be football players, some aren't, but to be able to represent your school in one way or another really means a lot. And to have a crowd out here like there's tonight is really special for these guys.
Yeah, we've got a great crowd, and Roosevelt's really trying to finish strong and put up another 5 or 7 points. Get this crowd to cheer one last time. Within 5 meters here. Roosevelt grabbing the ball and moving forward, and within a couple meters. Oh, poor handling, but luckily number 6 collects it.
Collects it well.
Lost a few meters, but still maintains possession. Bullard trying to steal the ball, and Roosevelt maintains it.
They're really letting them play out this last movement.
Yep, as long as there's no penalties and no cheaters out there, they're going to keep going. And they've got an overload out there. They've got a guy out on the wing he did not recognize.
Should have moved it.
But no harm, no foul as long as they maintain possession, which they're doing. Right up the middle, number 4 for Roosevelt. Elmer Gonzalez with a good run. Oh,
there
and
we go.
we've
Try
got
awarded.
a final score.
That's a good way to finish.
That is a great way to finish for Roosevelt. They'll be proud of that last score. So we got a 27-44 at this point. They'll get the chance to kick for 2-point conversion here, and then that will wrap up this game. So
Some players just absolutely exhausted.
That was a long stretch of a very physical rugby there, the last 5 minutes of extra time. And both of these teams should be proud of what they've done. And unfortunately, Roosevelt came out short, but fortunately for Bullard, they maintain their undefeated record.
Absolutely, and I think it's crucial for whether win or lose. It's just about taking each game as a learning experience, bouncing back and taking each new week, as it comes, and knowing that you're building on something big. I mean, with the way rugby is developing, the youth program here in the Central Valley, you're part of a movement, and so 3 or 4 years from now, I wouldn't be surprised to see Roosevelt running the show, or being a top competitor in this division and stuff. So it's really cool to see, definitely.
Absolutely. And now here comes part of the sport that does not get a lot of attention, but it really should. All players are required to shake hands afterwards. Not only are they required to shake hands, but they will most likely give a cheer to the crowd together. Mm-hmm. And then afterwards there will be a social to support camaraderie between not only your team but the opposing team as well. And it's a way to show that not only did you play a hard-fought match and you beat each other up on the field, but there's more to life than just what happens on the field. You leave the field and you're friends, or you can be friends, and show good sportsmanship and camaraderie.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll let them get their cheer here. Alrighty, well, that's going to do it for this matchup.
Great job, Josh. Great job to Bullard, maintaining undefeated, 44-27.
Absolutely.